Procrastination is a confidence killer and a dream killer. Ask yourself this question: what would my life look like if I had all the motivation and drive in the world and all the confidence in the world to boldly pursue my dreams and goals? And I never had to deal with this ugly monster called procrastination. Hey there, I'm Philip, and you're tuned into the Doer Podcast. As a former wimp and serial procrastinator, I know the pain and frustration that comes from having ambition, having goals and dreams, but not having the motivation, the drive, and the confidence to pursue those goals and dreams. So in this episode, I want to share with you 3 dopamine boosting protocols that can absolutely help you be more motivated, be more driven, have more confidence, have more energy. People ask me, Philip, why do you care so much about dopamine? Why do you care so much about optimizing your dopamine system? Well, dopamine has everything to do with how motivated you and I feel right now, with how driven you and I feel right now. It has everything to do with how outward facing we are and how eager we are to lean into life and to pursue our goals and dreams. Here at the Doer Podcast, we're all about taking radical action in pursuit of our goals and our dreams. But being a radical action taker requires motivation and drive and confidence and energy. And dopamine plays a crucial role in that. Now, before I give you those 3 dopamine boosting protocols, just a quick shout out to Dr. Andrew Huberman over at the Huberman Lab podcast, who brought my attention to these protocols. So absolutely go check out his podcast too. I will leave a link in the comments section below. Now let's take a look at those dopamine boosting protocols. The first one is an NSDR protocol. NSDR stands for non-sleep deep rest. And a very popular non-sleep deep rest protocol is something called Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is a meditation and relaxation technique that promotes physical, mental, and emotional relaxation. It is usually led by an instructor and requires you to lie down in a comfortable position while focusing on deep breathing and body awareness. There is science and research-based evidence that has shown Yoga Nidra to lift baseline levels of dopamine by up to 65%, which is pretty remarkable. Personally, I use this tool whenever I didn't sleep well. You know, dopamine gets replenished in our systems during our sleep. And when you don't sleep well, that is a problem. But, you know, sometimes we just don't sleep well. We wake up in the morning and we realize we still feel tired, but we don't have time to go back to bed. We have to get on with our lives and do what we have to do. But instead of going back to bed, you can choose maybe to do a short Yoga Nidra session. If you go to YouTube and you search Yoga Nidra, you'll find hundreds, maybe thousands of guided sessions. They range from 10 minutes to 40 minutes, even longer. So if you can fit in a session like that, even if it's just 10 minutes, it will help a lot. Yoga Nidra cannot replace your sleep, but personally I think it is the next best thing. The second dopamine boosting protocol is deliberate cold exposure. Now, deliberate cold exposure has become very popular over the years because of its many health benefits and the positive effect that cold exposure has on your baseline levels of dopamine is one of those benefits. In a research study that was published in the European Journal of Applied Physiology, it was found that participants had their baseline levels of dopamine increase by up to 250%. And on top of that, this increase was maintained for a period of up to 3 hours. Now, for practical reasons, the easiest way for us to use this as a dopamine boosting tool is by taking cold showers. Dr. Andrew Huberman recommends taking a cold shower with temperatures ranging from about 4 to 12 degrees Celsius. But he also mentions that the exact temperature isn't really important. It's just got to be cold enough for you that you can stay in safely, but you really feel that you want to get out of it. It really has to be unpleasant for you to be there. I think it's very important to remember that extreme cold exposure can be very harmful to your body. So if you choose to do cold showers, just please stay safe. Some people choose to add cold exposure showers to their daily routine. That's what I do. And once again, Andrew Huberman recommends us doing cold exposure for up to 11 minutes a week. So what I do is I take a cold shower every morning, or most mornings, of about 1.5 minutes, and that adds up to about 11 minutes by the end of the week. After taking my cold shower in the morning, I feel very energized. I feel very motivated and very driven. So I can really vouch for this practice. In order to help you optimize your dopamine system, I have created the DO framework, Dopamine Optimization Framework. You can get free access to it by going to my website, philipbotha.com. I'll leave a link to it in the comment section below. Please go check it out. The third protocol doesn't actually have a name, so I'm just going to name it the Deepen The Dip Drill. This is a technique specifically designed to pop you out of a procrastination slump faster. And it beautifully leverages dopamine dynamics to our advantage. In order for you to understand it better, I just need to mention a couple of things regarding how the dopamine system works. Now, dopamine is released into our dopamine systems in two main ways. The first one is called tonic release, and that is associated with these baseline levels of dopamine that we always have present in our systems. The second one is phasic release. Now, phasic release is associated with the peaks above and the dips below the baseline level of dopamine that we experience every time we do something pleasurable, something fun, novel, or exciting. Now, these dips below the baseline level of dopamine is usually characterized by feelings of discomfort, internal friction, a kind of a painful state. And the depth of this dip below baseline levels is proportional to how high that peak was. This explains how we sometimes feel so down and so unmotivated after we did something really exciting. I remember several years ago, I was participating in the Taiwan Toastmasters International Speech Contest in the final round, which was really exciting. And I was like on this dopamine high for 2 days. But afterwards, I crashed. I felt so down and so unmotivated. And it was a really painful state to be in. We all experience situations like this in our lives, don't we? Now, this dip below the baseline levels of dopamine that is characterized by these feelings of procrastination and discomfort will eventually pass. Our levels will return to normal. But the problem is we don't always have time to wait it out. Our lives go on and we have things to do. So here is a possible solution. So as I mentioned before, the depth of the dip below baseline level of dopamine is proportional to how high the peak was in the first place. And another important aspect is that the rate at which we get out of that dip is proportional to how steep that dip is. And this is where the Deepen the Dip protocol comes in. It requires you to take action and to do something that's going to make this unmotivated procrastination state feel even worse than it is at that moment. What happens when we do that is that the dip we find ourselves in now become deeper and steeper at the same time, and this has the effect of popping us out of that state of procrastination faster. So what are some of the things that we can do to make that state of discomfort, that state of internal friction, suck even worse? Well, we could take that cold shower, or we could do like 10 minutes of high intensity interval training. It doesn't really matter what you do as long as it's something that you don't like doing. It's got to make your state suck even worse. And it doesn't have to be something that's physically tiring or physically straining. It could be something like meditation, because for some people meditation is really, really hard to do and they hate doing it. So if that is you, you could even use meditation, a short meditation, as a way to pop yourself out of that procrastination slump. So there we have 3 easily accessible dopamine boosting protocols that you can use whenever you find yourself in an unmotivated state. Remember guys, we're not simply at the mercy of our brain chemistry. We can leverage dopamine dynamics to our advantage. And that is what these 3 protocols do. So I want to encourage you to go and try these tools whenever you feel you need a dopamine boost. I always say that if you're serious about living your best life and achieving your goals, you will do whatever it takes. Of course, as long as you don't harm yourself or other people in the process. Have you ever tried any of these protocols? What do you think about these protocols? I'd love to hear what you think. Please leave a comment in the comment section below. I'd like to connect with you there. Until next time, bye.